Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So did you happen to see this? Michael Branch bringing this to our attention, set to be enacted on January 1st, 2024. This regulation mandates American businesses to collect all personal information from individuals conducting digital asset transactions exceeding $10,000. So, considering we recently got the PayPal news, the video I did this morning, we talked about that. I'll link that up here. The countdown has begun for a significant shift in the world of cryptocurrencies as a new U.S. law gears up to reshape the landscape. So this is for Americans. Set to be enacted on January 1st, 2024, the regulation mandates American businesses to collect personal information, similar to what banks do right now, for any transactions exceeding $10,000. While hailed as a step towards transparency and taxation, this law has ignited fierce debates, legal battles, and concerns surrounding the potential infringement of individual financial privacy. The IRS now mandates that these businesses must file a Form 8300 and report crypto payments of over $10,000. So guys, this is where the landscape is moving, unfortunately, and this is what crypto regulation is going to look like. No more are the days of the Wild West. However, the bright side, the silver lining, whatever you want to call it, this is going to enable the big money to eventually come into the space and, really bring crypto prices up. I think more investor confidence, institutional buyers, more of that. But the flip side is us plebes, we are now subject to more taxation from our government. So that is unfortunate, but I thought I'd bring it to you guys. January 1st, this is the time right before the next bull run commences. Anyway, wanted to thank Michael for bringing that to our attention. The other thing I wanted to mention too, guys, was this clip here. I showed it in a video I did the other day. This poor woman here lost thousands of XRP stolen from her ledger. And everybody was blaming Ledger. It was very easy to blame Ledger. I was saying, though, in that video how it could, in fact, be that she downloaded a Chrome extension, added it to her browser. That was malware, a fake Ledger Chrome extension. I know Ledger did come out and say there was a fake Chrome extension that did exist that a group of hackers produced. So if you are... Okay, here's the thing. If you're going to buy any product, buy it from the company directly. Don't buy anything used. Don't buy, don't trust any of these third-party apps or anything like that, because these could in fact be scammers, even if it does look legitimate and even if it is on the the official Google store. I was assuming it was a browser extension, but now King Dogo here is saying, I heard that she bought her ledger from a third party. Guys, never do that. Make sure the package is sealed and ordered from the real Ledger website. What happens is, and I talked about this scam back in 2018, some people got scammed with this. If you buy a ledger from online from a third party and it is not sealed, and you open it up and it comes with, if you have no idea how to use one of these things, it comes with a prepackaged 24-word seed phrase. So essentially what the scammer is doing is he's giving you a ledger at a pretty good price, I'm assuming, but he's prepackaging it with a 24-word seed phrase. Well, you know that you should never share your phrase with anyone. But if you don't know that and you just think, oh, here's my 24-word seed phrase, I'm going to put my crypto on this ledger or something similar, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Well, what the scammer has done is they've used the 24-word seed phrase that they gave you and they restored it on another ledger and they took all your cryptocurrencies. So just be careful. Again, be very, very vigilant and be very careful of this. I don't know if this is exactly what happened here, but just something else, guys, to be paying attention to. The Ledger has been a great product. I've never had problems with it. I do have an affiliate link, and I would only direct my users to a product that I had full confidence in, and I still have full confidence in this. So just, be mindful of that kind of thing. Wanted to keep going. Binance XRP Holdings up by over 100 million as exchange now holds 2.8 billion XRP, guys. This courtesy of Wheezy at Nerd Nation Unboxed. Now, Binance is the world's largest crypto exchange, and they hold a record amount of XRP, guys. They shared their up-to-date proof of reserves report, providing transparency into the company's crypto holdings, and their updated report shows that the leading exchange holds a significant amount of XRP, according to the data on the platform. The exchange's POR was audited on August 1st, 2023, so about a week ago. They currently hold 2.8 billion XRP, so about 2.8% of the total global supply. However, Binance's customers hold a combined 2.7 billion XRP as balances across their accounts. This suggests that Binance holds a slightly larger amount of XRP than its users, which is always good. Consequently, where were we here? The ratio of customer net balance to Binance's net balance for XRP was approximately 103.5%. So I'm happy here that Binance has come out, given us their proof of reserves, because this is exactly what has added to some of the strife in the crypto space. These exchanges like FTX not being completely transparent and then eventually going bankrupt because of the shadiness that was being conducted behind closed doors. So that's just the latest news here from Binance from a week ago, August 1st. They hold 103.5% of the XRP held by their users currently on the exchange. So wanted to thank Wheezy just for posting that. Happen to see this too. Another one from Michael Branch. Ripple wins Beyond the Check Award for philanthropic collaboration with Eat, Learn, Pay. Another milestone here for Ripple, the company. In a recent tweet, Ripple expressed pride of being acknowledged in the prestigious San Francisco Business Times top 100 Bay Area corporate philanthropy list. And here's the tweet, guys, that goes along with that. We're proud to be recognized in this year's SF Business Times top 100 Bay Area corporate philanthropy list and to receive the Beyond the Check Award for our partnerships with incredible nonprofits like Eat, Learn, Pay. So Ripple does have an impact there. Again, another award here given to Ripple for their charity work, and the optics on this never hurts. I mean, for a company with a lot of money, they also need to provide some social engagement. And this is really going to be positive in the eyes of regulators, in the eyes of government. You've got to be on board. You've got to be playing the game in order to get a piece of that pie. And so, when I hear these stories, I think, okay, that's great, that's good, whatever else. But realistically, there is ultimately a goal why businesses do this. And Ripple, again, doing it probably for a few different reasons. But at the end of the day, it is good for the foundations involved. So wanted to thank Michael just for posting that. Happen to see this, another one from Mason with regards to a new partnership. Now, Mason posted this, that the company Centigrade was actually created by Ripple. Ripple has just created a new company called Centigrade. I don't know if that's completely accurate. Centigrade Earth is bringing increased transparency, digital and integrity to global carbon markets. So just along those same lines of the ESG, positive social engagement with these crypto companies. Chris Larson also came out and said the voluntary carbon market is a key component to fighting devastating climate change, but has been long overdue for an upgrade. Congratulations to Centigrade Earth on today's launch. So Centigrade did post this announcement yesterday. Centigrade is launching today to bring increased trust and participation to the voluntary carbon market together with our partners, Ripple and Rocky Mountain Institution. So they're partnered up with Ripple and this voluntary carbon market initiative, adding more trust, participation. Wrath of Kahneman here also putting some pieces of this together. Today's Ripple announcement about a new carbon credit project, Centigrade, has some great possibilities and intriguing connections to note. We can trace a longer built-out process within the confines of this project. He starts out by saying, start by noting they mentioned derivatives in the announcement. So the announcement is up here. I will link it in the description of the video. Derivatives, where have we heard of derivatives just recently? The ISDA announcement that we just got a few days ago, I did a video on that. I'll link it up here in the top right-hand corner. So just remember, they just announced this, the International Swaps and Derivatives Association. Now we see an intent for carbon market derivatives. Next, remember Exchange. What happened to them in 2021? Ripple backed Exchange to build carbon markets on the XRP ledger. The relationship between Exchange and Centigrade is unclear, but Exchange, Ripple, and RMI, the other Centigrade founder, were on stage together. So that's interesting to note as well. If it tells us anything, Centigrade is positioning itself as an open data platform, not the market itself. Perhaps then they might handle data for or from Exchange, possibility. Similarly, in 2022, Ripple partnered with Thalo to create a marketplace for carbon credits, along with the Climate Collective. And wouldn't you know, on Centigrade's website, Thalo is also listed receiving Centigrade data. So all these companies that are connected to Ripple are also connected to Centigrade. Interesting. Hold on, there's more. On the Centigrade website, BC Biocarbon is listed as a partner as well. BC Biocarbon and Ripple recently announced a $6.7 million to purchase biocarbon removal credits. Deeper still, BC Biocarbon also has an agreement to stream carbon credits with Invert. And Invert, remember, was one of the other lead investors in Exchange when Ripple invested. So a very tight web of connections here. Also, the Centigrade website is partner Carbon Cure. Ripple and Invert invested $30 million in Exchange for hundreds of thousands of high-quality carbon credits. But wait, there's even more. Centigrade also listed Undo as a partner. Undo captures carbon through basalt weathering. And among a number of platforms, they offer their services on Thalo, which is the Ripple partner. So his conclusion here, carbon markets are still small, but Ripple seems to be building at the center of a lot of these connections with the intent of developing the tokenized carbon liquidity market. Seems like a significant connection here, or maybe just a lot of hot air. He says, bonus question, how and if does this fit into the recent agri-tech sightings, particularly Nutrisource? So we heard about that agricultural connection too with Ripple. So Nutrisource in Africa building fertilizer plants, perhaps another connection there, but some very deep connections here with regards to the carbon credits, and wanted to thank the Wrath of Kahneman for this extensive research that he's done on this. Great connections. Interesting to see Centigrade here really ramping it up in the space, and of course Ripple at the center of that. So wanted to thank Mason and Wrath of Kahneman, of course, just for posting that. One of the other things I wanted to note here, guys, was this recent spaces that David Schwartz participated in, talking about reserve currencies, and I know there's been a debate. Will XRP become a reserve currency? Will it not? Could it become a world currency or a reserve currency? Could it not? Recently, too, I did a video just unearthing an old tweet from Jim Rickards suggesting that XRP could be part of a potential ESDR, and I'll find that video. I'll link it up here in the top right-hand corner for you guys. So reserve currencies are changing. A lot of people were listening in on this spaces, so this one courtesy of 801 XRP here on Twitter. 713 listeners speaking on the possibility of 2 world reserve currencies at the same time. The success scenario is a currency no one controls. If the choice is no boss, and that appears to make a bunch of cryptocurrency people rich, I don't think they're going to see that as much of a minus. That was a quote from David Schwartz, but listen to what else he says here, guys. Some really great insight from David Schwartz, the man himself, on a world reserve currency, or maybe multiple reserve currencies. Listen to this.
Do you believe that there can be 2 existing world reserve currencies to simultaneously exist?
I do, and I think that could happen. I think it's quite realistic that a lot of the world is just done with the dollar as the reserve currency. I think that there's a lot of places that are willing to try something else. And one of my scenarios, and I don't think it's going to play out quickly, but like one of my wild case success scenarios for a digital asset is if countries start to realize that the US dollar is not going to be the reserve currency forever. Other things are going to be the reserve currency. And the same thing that we saw with banks. Like people, when we started selling software to banks, people would say to me, why would a bank use something that like you guys were selling them when they could use something that was like made by banks? And what they didn't realize is that, only like 10 banks in the country, on the planet, are Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan Chase, like the ones who would build a system that the entire planet would run on. For the rest of the banks, that's 6,000 smaller banks, those are their biggest, strongest competitors. Those are the entities they hate the most. They would not want to use the system built and maintained by them because it's going to be biased in favor of them, their biggest and strongest competitors. And I think the same thing could happen to nations. Like every nation would love for their currency to be the world reserve currency. That's helped the U.S., that's grown the U.S. economy, quote unquote, unfairly by leaps and bounds for decades. And every other country would be like, yeah, we'd like to have the world be the world's reserve currency. But the only countries that could possibly pull it off is the U.S. holding its position, maybe the EU, maybe Russia, maybe 1 or 2 others. But realistically, most countries know that if there's going to be a new world reserve currency that's a country's currency, it's not going to be them. And so they might actually prefer a currency that nobody can control to one that's controlled by their largest geopolitical rivals. And so that's like what I think is the biggest possible success scenario for digital assets. If these countries are like, okay, well, the US dollar can't hold on forever, but it's not going to be our currency because no one's going to want to repeat the US dollar scenario. Nobody but the EU wants the EU to replace the dollar, right? Nobody but Russia wants the ruble to replace the dollar. Nobody but China wants the yuan to replace the dollar. So maybe they could settle on a currency that nobody could control rather than one controlled by their most powerful geopolitical rival. So if you want a success scenario, that's the one that I think is the most likely.
But the money question is, how do you get everybody to agree?
Well, I mean, they might agree if the alternative is that their geopolitical rivals force some new replacement for the dollar that's not, if they just replace, the old boss with a new boss. If the choice is no boss, if that happens to make a bunch of cryptocurrency people rich, I don't think they're going to see that as too much of a minus.
So it could take time, but perhaps no boss is better than having a boss in place. And so how are these countries going to agree? Well, utilize something that is country agnostic, namely XRP. So David Schwartz here essentially saying in a roundabout way, XRP could be part of a world reserve currency system, maybe not like what we have seen in the past, but a currency that everybody can use, everybody can trust, a decentralized cryptocurrency like XRP. I mean, that's why it was created. Lewis Jackson here saying, David Schwartz just said on a Spaces, when talking about world reserve currencies, the success scenario is a currency no one controls. If the choice is no boss, and that happens to make a bunch of cryptocurrency people rich, well, I don't think they're going to see that as much of a minus. Also remember what Bodway said in the past. Schwartz confirming in recent Spaces, ODL is aimed at non-banks. I think it's because of less regulatory burden as the main reason, not just efficiency. Then I believe these banks will connect to these payment service providers in order to use ODL, guys. This is what Bob Way said. What I expect turning the switch is going to be, it's going to be connecting banks to these other service payment providers that are already using XRapid, the XRapid product, and going through XRP now and increasing the volume. Now do you understand how important PSP are? Atomic settlement, remember that other quote that Bob Way said? Once one central bank does it with another, then it's game over. Everybody is going to utilize it, and it's only a matter of time. David Schwartz doesn't think this is going to happen overnight, but essentially what he's saying here is that XRP has that potential. No one is going to agree on a country-specific global currency because they'll have already had the history of what happened for the US, and only their self-interests will come into play here. So this is going to mean the world's going to need an agnostic currency, namely XRP. I mean, doesn't it also remind you of what Brad Garlinghouse said back in Korea in 2018? Wow, my YouTube short almost has 589 likes.
Well, so when XRP was created, this actually was created before Ripple existed. The creators of XRP decided to be 100 billion units because they saw it as rather than having a smaller number with a very high price, they saw it as something they wanted to be effectively a global reserve currency.
Wait and see, I get everybody by surprise with my money. Everybody by surprise, XRP.
The creators of XRP decided to be 100 billion units because they saw it as they wanted to be effectively a global reserve currency.
That's right, guys, a global reserve currency. That's what Brad Garlinghouse thinks, and at least that's what David Schwartz thinks. And you know what? Sounds to me like a very probable situation. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.